offensive players of the week. Our weekly player awards for week 9. Offensive players of the week. Who are you going for here, mate?
I'll start it off with Kyler Murray. They didn't win, but what he did was just insane. He was carrying his entire offense, almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 100 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. One of the best quarterback stat lines you'll see all year.
Yeah,
not too
absolute
much
beast
to be said.
Yeah. Who has a better stat line? I was looking at this random match because I was doing some research on Taysom Hill. Just wanted to see what he was
Surely
about.
not.
In this college game in 2013, he ran for 256 yards.
Like from quarterback.
Yeah, he played quarterback, and his team had 72 carries. Jamal Williams had 180 yards. Like, I actually want to watch that match. I want to see what occurred. But yeah, pretty strange. But yeah, anyway, moving on. My number 3 is Richie James Jr. of the San Francisco 49ers. Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle, Bourne were all out. He was basically the only player left, and he got absolutely peppered, 184 yards with the TD in a losing effort, but nonetheless did quite well. In fact, he had more yards this game than he's had in a single season before. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, he got my 10 votes out of all the receivers, just pipping Devontae and Tyreek Hill, who also had pretty good weeks. But yeah, Richie James, he's my number 3 for this week's Offensive Player of the Week. Who's your number 2?
That bloke was genuinely just wide open, 40 yards down the field every play. It was pretty weird. I haven't ordered these, by the way, so I've just got 3 names. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. Pretty much almost carried the lads to a win over the Chiefs. Just put the team on his back, as he always does. But 2 touchdowns, 70 rushing yards, 10 receptions, 80 receiving yards. Just vintage McCaffrey. Had a huge game. Unfortunately, has a shoulder concern and is in danger of missing next week, which sucks for him. But the bloke's just an absolute animal.
Sucks for him.
Genuinely does, but yeah, he's a freak.
Nah, he was my number 2 as well. Killed at 151 yards from scrimmage, and he only played 71% of the snaps, which is, he usually plays like 90 plus. So if he played the full game, he probably could have gone 200 plus from scrimmage.
Hang on,
but yeah, I think the Panthers need some credit as well, just quietly.
They did well,
doing pretty well this year.
Was that because he left the game early, or was he just limited?
Nah, the injury was the very last play.
Okay, yeah. So it's just
so I think they were just easing him back in. And then the number 1, I think this is unanimous once again, the same as last week. Dalvin Cook, the Dalvinator, 250 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 9.36 yards per carry. 5.4 yards after contact per carry. So just on after contact alone, he had a pretty solid yards per carry. Only played 66% of snaps because I think they rested him after like halfway through the third quarter. So similar to McCaffrey, he probably could have gone 300 yards plus if he played like 80%. And then just thought I'd point this out. He's actually playing this year on $825K. Because he re-signed, but they structured it so he's not making much the first 2. Well, for NFL, he's not making much for the first 2, and then he makes bulk at the end.
Good to see he's going to start getting paid when he leaves his prime.
Yeah, next year he's only earning $2 million again. He does have a signing bonus of like $15 million, but this is his wage. But yeah, pretty crazy to think there was contract issues about Cook, because you'd kind of just be throwing the bank at him if you knew he was going to put up this stuff. But
he's a god.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's your number 1 as well, or your other guy you wanted to mention.
Yeah, exactly right. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's an absolute freak.
Yeah, he actually is.
I'm getting quite sick of it, to be honest. But but yeah.
Yeah, I'll just honourable mentions. Aaron Rodgers balled out against the Niners, put on a show. Tyreek Hill caught 2 touchdown passes. Devontae Adams, and then Kelsey also played really well, and Taysom Hill, obviously. And then this is a rogue one, but he actually picked up my 10 votes out of the QBs. The ever-efficient Kirk Cousins. Dalvin actually just picking up Yeah, 220 yards, 20 attempts, 3 touchdowns. Dalvin's actually carrying him in terms of my QB votes. But offensive rookie of the week, who are you going with here? Are you going the obvious or you going rogue?
Is the obvious Sir Jerry Jeudy of the?
No, I thought the obvious was Tua.
Oh, Tua, true.
Yeah,
Well,
I actually went Jerry. Jeudy as well.
Okay, I'm going to change it to Tua. I think I forgot about him. He deserves it. Yeah, looks like a beast. Did you see those plays where he was like genuinely spinning blokes to avoid tackles and then getting the first down?
Yeah, I can't remember who. He did a spin move on someone, and it was like the silliest thing. Like the guy tried to kill him. I think it was Baker. I think it was Butter Baker. He tried to kill him, and he just spun him around. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you love to see it as well.
Yeah, he's looking pretty awesome. He had 283 yards, 2 touchdowns against a pretty good defense. So very good second starting match in the league. But yeah, as you mentioned, the other guy, my guy I picked here, the guy you originally had, Jerry Jeudy, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, and he had a catch rate of 50%. Drew Lock is nuking this bloke's stats. Drew Lock has a completion rate of 56%.
Far out, and he still scored 30 fantasy points against me.
Yeah, yeah. So Jerry Jeudy, like if you look at Jerry Jeudy's stats every week, it's like 40 to 50% completion rate. So yeah, I feel bad for him because he's probably being held back. But yeah, bit of a breakout game this week. He absolutely torched the Falcons secondary. Honorable mentions go to James Robinson. He was my 8th voter in the running backs. He put up another serviceable performance, almost cracked the 100 yards again from scrimmage. And then Adam Troutman, no one knows who he is, but he scored a touchdown against the Bucs for the Saints. So congrats to him. Don't know who he is or what he does, but yeah, defensive player of the week.
Is he
gave
rookie?
It to. Yeah, he is.
I'm pretty sure he was like a pretty high.
Yeah, I think he was around 3 or something. Around the hundreds, which is quite high for a tight end. Defensive player of the week, I've given it to AJ Klein, a linebacker from the Bills. Yeah, like I said before, I only watched like the second half of this one, but I didn't even know who he was going into it now. Like he's burned into my brain. He was every single play he was destroying Russ. He had 2 sacks, 5 solo tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a forced fumble. Also had 4 QB hits and 1 pass defended. He moved from the Saints last year because he wasn't getting. Well, I think they wanted to move him on. I think they brought in someone to replace him. And yeah, he's slowly been easing into the Bills system, but there was a few injuries in that line of defense. So he's getting a lot more usage now and he's killing it. But also shout out to Marshawn Lattimore, who once again held Evans to 0 touches when he was playing on him. I think he had 4 catches, but on other people. That's the 3rd time now in a row that Lattimore has held Evans to 0 catches. 6 targets in those 3 matches. And Lattimore tweeted, someone put up that stat line that's 3 matches in a row, 0 targets, and Lattimore retweeted it saying better luck next year. So yeah, it's a pretty funny rivalry. There's been fights in the past. I think last year Lattimore got suspended or something for punching him in the head, but yeah, it's a bit of a gag. I swear he's Boris all year, and then he just turns it on for Mike Evans. But fair play to Lattimore, he did quite well. All right, final section, mate.
You go first. Do you think Mike Evans is like done being elite?
I don't get why he plays through these injuries, to be honest. Like, it looks like he should not be playing at all. Like, there was a few weeks there where he was basically walking and they were like, he was playing like 80%. Like, I just think he needed, I think he needs time off personally to get his body right. Hopefully he can do that in the off season of next year. But I think his body let him down. But yeah, I think he is probably past his peak.
I reckon he might want out potentially next season because
I saw some Bucks fans saying that.
He's pretty much their 3rd man now going forward.
And Scotty Miller was having a bit of a breakout year this year. He's probably going to see less footy now with Antonio Brown there. But Scotty Miller would be a good wide receiver 3 in pretty much any team. So I don't think it would be the worst shout. It'd probably be better for both parties, maybe.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.